Hey friend, I am so glad you are spending this time with me today because I think this is a very important topic that a lot of people just do not cover, just don't talk about it. It's something that gets brushed aside, but I think it's a huge, huge issue for every family that has some financial struggles. So, today we're going to talk about the toll that the financial stress takes on you, your partner, your kids, your whole family, and some helpful tips that will hopefully reduce that burden on you and your family. So, let's get into this really important topic. Okay, so we're going to talk about financial stress a little. This is such a huge topic. I think it's really overlooked and such a big part of the mental health of families that are going through some financial stress or a financial crisis. There's a huge emotional impact when money is tight, when there's a lot of debt that is really heavy and hanging over the whole family. It can strain relationships if you're a couple and you're facing this together, or if one feels like the other one has worse habits. There's a huge emotional impact. So it can cause anxiety, depression over time, feelings of helplessness, just not sure how to make any changes. It's very common to feel like it's a never ending cycle, living paycheck to paycheck or having mountains of debt that you just can't get out from underneath. And this can lead to more tension between each other or resentment from one partner to another. It can lead to more arguing, which can cause tension for kids, of course. Strained relationships, a lot of divorce. I believe like the most common reason for divorce is finances. I think I heard that somewhere. Don't quote me on that if that's not true, but I'm sure it is up there if it is not the number one reason. So, along with the emotional impacts, you can actually also feel physical symptoms that you may not be realizing is from financial stress. Things like having issues sleeping. I don't know about you, but when we've had financial issues in the past, I would wake up at like 3 a.m. and could never go back to sleep. Or sometimes I just wouldn't sleep all night. I'd just be constantly worried, thinking about how we're going to pay for something, how we're going to get out of debt. So sleep issues is a physical symptom. That's a way it shows up. Headaches is another one. If you feel tense a lot or worrying a lot, anxiety a lot can cause headaches. And along with headaches is gastrointestinal issues. So if you get any kinds of stomach issues, kind of off and on, just seems to be a pattern and nothing really explaining it, that chronic stress of financial distress, financial overwhelm can be causing the headaches and the gastrointestinal issues. And of course, with low quality sleep can come lack of focus, things like that. Of course, moodiness, anything where it's affecting your mood, affecting your attitude, affecting your focus and how productive you are. This can all be coming from the stress that is continuing on and on because of the financial issues. Then, of course, impact on your kids, right? Your kids can feel the tension. There's a saying, you can feel the tension, you can cut the tension with a knife. I think that's the saying. It's true. Kids can feel that. They can really easily pick up on the stress between their parents, the worrying of their parents, or when their parents aren't focused, or when they're arguing with each other or fighting. And this can actually show up as behavioral issues or anxiety issues in children. So they can start having issues at school. If there's any kind of behavioral issues at school, it could be because of the way they feel at home. And it can cause them to really feel insecure just about even worrying about their basic needs, if they're going to be met, if they are going to run out of food, not have enough food, lose their home, anything like that. Are you going to have to sell things that are important to them? Depending on the type of conversations that are being had in front of them at home, it can really cause a sense of insecurity in them. So these are things that can help clue in if you feel like you're not sure if you've had some long lasting effects of financial stress. Here are some other signs that you are facing financial stress or it's something that is affecting you more than you realize. So some of the behavioral changes you can recognize is just an avoidance of bills. A lot of times, if you have a spouse or a partner who is in charge of bills, maybe they start avoiding bills. Or so avoiding bills is a big sign of financial stress because You just don't want to know what's past due. You're expecting the worst when you look at your bills, that things are way past due or the amounts are way higher than you can even face, and just not facing them, ignoring your financial problems, avoiding your bills helps you feel like you're relieving that stress for a little bit. And then over time, it can cause just being irritable more and more. You can start getting really grumpy, getting really irritable, and start withdrawing from people, from family activities more and more. You may have overwhelming guilt or shame that you're feeling all the time. You may feel just like you're letting your family down. You may feel embarrassed. Maybe you don't really want to talk to anybody or get help from anybody because you're just embarrassed, feel like that you've caused this problem and you should know how to get out of this situation, but you don't know how and you don't want to admit that, or you're just embarrassed that you got yourself here in the first place. You may be constantly worrying. So preoccupation with your finances, with worrying about paying those bills, that affects you long term, affects your concentration on other important areas of your life, like your relationships, spending time with your kids, your work productivity. It can affect your health, of course, even decision-making ability. It can really prevent making good decisions and just start feeling that desperation. So if any of this resonated with you, just know that I'm here. I'm thinking of you. I'm sending good thoughts your way. And there is hope. You can turn your situation around. So many people have been in your shoes where you are right now and have been able to turn their situations around, and you can too. So I want you to have some hope. I'm going to go over a few strategies just to help you manage your financial stress, because I don't want any of the health issues to start taking their toll on you or any family members or your kids. I want you to feel that hope. I want you to be in the best mental clarity so you can start getting yourself out of the financial situation that you're in and start turning things around, because you absolutely can. So the first strategy is you've got to start tackling your finances. You've got to be proactive. You just have to dig in and really assess where you're at. Get an idea of where you're starting from, and know no matter where it is, you can turn things around. It may be painful. It may take way longer than you want it to, but you can, little by little, change your situation. So of course, you've got to get yourself on a budget. You've got to start tracking. You've got to know your income. You've got to start tracking your expenses and living within your means. So after you have clarity of your current situation, you've got to start making changes like creating a budget. You've got to get on a debt repayment plan. You've got to figure out what are your absolute essential things that you need to pay for and what can you cut out. You've got to learn ways to cut them out. You've got to cut costs and learn how you can save more and more and more. And of course, I have a lot of episodes on budgeting, on debt management, on saving money in a lot of different areas. So just start taking it one episode at a time and implement what you are learning. And then, of course, you've got to set some realistic goals with your finances. As I mentioned, it may take quite some time. It's probably taken quite some time to get into the situation that you're in, and it's going to take time to get out of that same situation. Set some realistic goals for yourself. Break down your debt repayment or your savings or whatever your goals are into some manageable action steps and small enough steps that you don't get overwhelmed, and just work on one step at a time. Celebrate your small wins over and over so that you can continue staying motivated, because it is going to be over the long haul. A lot of times we feel motivated for a very short time and it fades, but we've got to keep ourselves going. And of course, seek some financial guidance if you need it. There are nonprofit credit counselors out there, financial advisors can give you advice. Talk with somebody that you know that has gotten themselves out of the similar situation, and like real families who have gotten out of the same situation. Talk to them and say, what did you do? What did you do first? Then what did you do? Then what did you do? What tools did you use? Just ask, can you help me? Can you give me some advice? Can I ask you a few questions? You can also use free tools. There are so many free tools, online tools, apps that can help simplify your money management, help teach you where you're spending your money, help you budget further. So take advantage of those free tools if you need additional help. And the second strategy is you've got to manage your emotional well-being. This is so critical in order to be in a good space to continue digging yourselves out of a financial stress. So if you have a partner, you've got to start communicating. You have to start communicating well. You've got to open up. You have to be honest with each other. You have to discuss your financial issues together. Get on the same page with where you're at. Get on the same page with your commitment to dig out of this situation no matter what it takes. Talk to your kids. It's so important that your kids feel reassured by you that yes, there have been some stressful times, but you will assure that they have their basic financial needs met. They don't have anything they need to worry about. You want them to be kids and assure them that you are going to start taking the steps that it's going to take to change your outcome, and that it probably is going to take quite a bit of time. It's going to take sacrifice, but just reassure them that you're making the right decisions and you're doing this for them and for yourselves to get into a much healthier financial place. And make sure you're focusing on mental health. Mental health is so important. And when you are facing financial stress, your mental health can really take a toll. So make sure you are relieving your stress in positive, healthy ways. Like exercise is a good one, journaling is another good one, meditation if that's your thing, going on walks, getting in nature. You can go to support groups or talk with friends, anything that is going to help you with your mental health that doesn't cost money. There's so many different things you can do that will help you feel healthier, relieve that stress, and let it go. And that will keep you focused and moving forward as well. You're going to have to make some sacrifices, and so you need to stop measuring how you compare to other people. Does your lifestyle measure up to somebody else's? Are you keeping up with the Joneses? You're going to have to let that go. Chances are a lot of those people around you have debt like you, or are living paycheck to paycheck like you, or having a lot of financial stress like you may be having. And then I think this is so important within being frugal, just frugal living as a whole, or cutting back, making changes, being on a budget, is just seeing any kinds of money management, money responsibility, budgeting, all of that as solutions and not punishments. You've got to look at saving money as not something you're going without, but something that you're choosing to forego for a healthier financial situation, for a healthier physical situation, for healthier mental health. You're choosing mental health over spending money on XYZ. So look at it as you're just redefining your priorities. You are going to focus on free things, free family activities, having fun at no cost. There's so many things that you can still do even though you're on a budget, and you may have to eliminate things that cost money, but you can add in things that you hadn't really thought about before, like movies in the park and going to parades, going on a hike with your kids. And also words matter. So changing your language. If you are constantly saying, we can't afford it, we don't have enough money, we cannot buy that, we can't spend any money. Instead, something positive like, here's how we're making smart choices. Here is what we are prioritizing spending our money on. Here is the progress we're making. Here are the goals that we are achieving. Change your words, change your focus, change your mindset, and you're going to be in such a better place. And of course, you can get really creative on more ways to save money, how to get things for free. I have episodes on getting your resources for free. I have episodes on how to meal plan and prep and cook at home and batch cooking. I do a recipe every month now, actually in a few days. If you want to subscribe now, my next episode is going to be this month's frugal recipe. You can repurpose items. There's so many ways to get what you need without spending money, and it can actually be a lot of fun, and you can get a lot of joy out of reusing items or getting things that save you money because you got them for free. And then of course, community is huge. So you've got to connect with people, whether it's just you and your spouse, your children, whether it's just you and your family, or if you have friends and loved ones who are going through the same thing. Maybe you find a Facebook group that has like-minded families that you don't know yet, but they're going through the same thing, and you can support each other. You can share tips that are helping you with each other, encouragement, and celebrate your wins. Somebody who's understanding what you are going through, and when you have a win that you feel like nobody in your family will understand or your friend group will understand, your community group will. So it's so important to work on your finances because the financial stress is huge and it can take such a toll on your family more than you realize. I do have a couple resources here I just wanted to share real quick too before I go. Of course, for any kind of budgeting and savings tips and debt tips, all my podcast episodes, just go through, listen again, as I mentioned, don't get overwhelmed and try to binge listen to all of them. Start with one and implement what tips I give you and keep going one foot in front of the other at all times. If you need the National Foundation for Credit Counseling, if you just want to look into what they do, how they may be able to help you, what kinds of resources they have for you, they are it's a website, nfcc.org. That's the N for national, the F for foundation, C for credit, and C for counseling, nfcc.org. And then, of course, if you have any mental health crisis at all or somebody that you know, there's a free suicide crisis hotline 24 hours a day. You can just dial 988. It is literally, can be life-saving, and it is 24 hours a day, completely free. 988, the suicide crisis hotline. I'm thinking of you and your family if you are going through any kind of financial stress right now. I have been in your shoes. I know exactly how that feels, and I am rooting for you to completely change your family's life. I know that you can do it. I have done it. Many other families have done it, and so can you. All right, I will talk with you in a few days. Sending you lots of hugs and blessings to your family.